Alrighty, y'all. So we have started fractions, woohoo, and we are talking about how to use models, so this right here, to determine if two fractions are equivalent. If I'm trying to find a fraction that is equivalent to 2/5, well, first of all, I know that this model right here represents 2/5 because when I look at the whole piece, I see that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces in total. So that goes in my denominator. And I have 2 colored in, and that's my numerator. So the numerator is the number of pieces, whereas the denominator is the size of the piece. So I know that this model represents 2/5, but I want to try and find a fraction that is equivalent or equal to 2/5 as well. So equivalent means equal to. We're trying to find a fraction that equals the same as 2/5. So I don't want to, what I don't want to do is add pieces onto this model, because then I'm changing the denominator. I'm then changing the size of the piece. I want to keep the piece the same. So let's say though, what happens if I draw a line down the middle? If I draw a line down the middle, I'm not changing the size of the piece, but I'm making the size of the pieces smaller, which gives me a bigger number. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces, 10 total pieces, and 1, 2, 3, 4 are colored in, which gives me 4/10. This tells me that 2/5 is equal to 4/10. I can even take it a step further and draw more lines, but I'm going to go ahead and erase this line because whenever I'm dealing with fractions, I'm dealing with equal size pieces. Okay, so in order to make this accurate, I need to make sure that my pieces are as equally sized as possible. So instead of one line, I'm going to draw 2. So let me draw a line right here, and let me draw a line right here. Again, I didn't change the size of the piece. I just made the pieces smaller. The pieces are getting smaller the more lines I add. I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pieces in total. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces colored in. Because the size of what I'm working with right here isn't changing and I'm just cutting it up into smaller pieces, I can see that the pieces are getting smaller, but my total is staying the same. So that tells me that 2/5 is not only equal to 4/10, but it's also equal to 6/15. Okay? If I didn't have a model to draw and I needed to find equivalent fractions for 2/5, let's erase this. If I didn't have a model and I wanted to draw, or I wanted to find equivalent fractions for 2/5, I could just multiply my numerator and my denominator by the same number. So 2 times 2 and 5 times 2 would give me 2 times 2 is 4 and 5 times 2 is 10, 4/10. Look at that. If I were to do this again but pick a different number, let's say 5, 2 times 5 and 5 times 5, I would end up with 2 times 5 is 10 and 5 times 5 is 25. 10/25. So I can say that 2/5 is also equal to 10/25. Let's see if we can get 6 and 15. If I multiply 2 times 3 and I multiply 5 times 3, because remember they have to be the same number, then I get 2 times 3 is 6 and 5 times 3 is 15. Okay, so if drawing models aren't really your thing, you don't really understand it, or you struggle with making equal sized pieces, then maybe you want to use the strategy where you can multiply. As long as you multiply the numerator and as long as you multiply the numerator and the denominator by the same number, then you will get a fraction that is equivalent to what you started with. Okay? All right, I hope that helps.